All right, fine. I'll be a gracious host. How you doing?
Little Mermaid is the scariest Disney movie by far, though.
Why the hell is Ace Blade in your Kickstarter?
Some comics. I'm getting controversial today. We're gonna get controversial today with.
My proudest moment is this interview and being able to talk to you two.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Taurus Comics, in collaboration with Fourth Wall Productions, proudly brings to you the 57th episode of the Four Tales podcast. I am your host, Kyron Silva from Taurus Comics. Across the way, that way, is the red and blue gatekeeper of Ace Blade, Danny J. Quick, and together we are your two award-winning blurred comic creators here to help you find your next favorite comic. We are live on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and all throughout the Agents of Geekdom platform. So if you're listening or watching us live, thank you for your support, but don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and review our podcast, because all those interactions help us. Dang, Javon already up in here. Morning, Javon. How you doing?
Good morning, Javon.
Right.
We need to make that part.
I looked over and it just threw me off. So all your positive reviews and interactions help us reach a bigger audience. Michael Watson in the house. Good morning, sir. Brother Danny, how are you doing today?
Brother Kyron, how are you? Which one of these am I supposed to read? Which one do I keep and which I read?
You read them both. It's the exact same story in each book, but you read them both.
No,
I saw what?
One of these covers are more exclusive than the other. Which one do I save? Which one do I put away? And which one do I read?
Okay. So for anybody that's listening to us, Danny is holding up my amazing book, Star Core. He has the regular cover and the variant cover. The regular cover is the one, Danny, in your right hand. That's the one that everybody gets the option for. The one in your left hand, Danny, is the Kickstarter exclusive variant cover drawn by amazing creator Dan Bethel. So you can read both, but if you want to keep one, safer, I guess, for prosperity and for monetary reasons, I would say the variant cover for sure.
All right.
When did this become a opening box show? All right, so Danny's now just going to sit back and read my comic, apparently.
Well, this week it seems like I'm the odd man out, because our guest this week and Kyron are longtime friends, and Kyron has been trying to get rid of me on the show anyway. So I feel like this might be an audition of sorts for our guest. So
okay, we've already discussed this. I've pared down your replacements to Javon and a couple other people. Moana says you should save both and just read the digital, which I am totally fine with doing that too.
I can't read. I can't. I don't know why. I have trouble. I even tried with it's a good suggestion, Moana, for real, but I have trouble reading digital comics consistently, and I just prefer the physical book in my hands for some reason. It's more expensive, and they take up space, but I just prefer the physical book in my hand. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally in the same way. I love my physical books. I do read some digital stuff, but give me the option. Wow, somebody said they thought we got canceled. I don't remember us getting canceled. Okay. If we got canceled, that's all your fault. That's not. I don't do anything that's controversial.
Man. That drama over the holidays, man. You got people thinking we don't have a show anymore. You got people thinking that I'm not on the show, that you kicked me off, that I got fired, that we're fighting, that we hate each other. Somebody commented in one of the posts that said that they thought we weren't talking anymore. What's going on, man?
Okay, to be fair though, you did tell me specifically you can no longer be part of the show. Is that not factual?
I did say that.
Okay, thank you.
But you knew that I was being sarcastic. You knew that I was not playing. I even put a smiling face at the end of the comment. You know what? We're not talking. We're not talking. Folks were really reaching out to me asking if y'all were beat. Wow.
All I know is that I looked in my DMs and you said, I appreciate this. I can no longer be part of the show. You know, I don't know what else to say. I thought you were gone. I thought you didn't want to be part of this. Facebook user says, yeah, Kyron, you got us all messed up. It was not me.
You didn't think
I was just telling what actually happened.
This is a beautiful book, by the way.
Thank you. Shout out to Marcos Martinez, the artist on the book. He did an amazing job transposing my intellectual scripture there. Oh, it's Chuck. Okay. All right. That makes sense.
Oh,
right. That makes so much sense now. All right.
Stir in the pot. Just stir in the pot.
Do you want to stir the pot more with our guests since we've now gotten into our banter?
Yeah, let's get our guest on in here. I know you.
Okay, wait. I do have one more thing. What comics did you read this week? And if you aren't gonna pull out Exciting Comics 29 with my cover, I'm gonna kick you off the show.
I would like to apologize. Because my intent was to go to my local comic book store and make sure that they reserved me a copy.
Mm-hmm.
I did not do that, and I did not pick up my comics this week, so I don't even.
So I will be looking for a new guest host. Please feel free to email me at fourtailspodcast@gmail.com and go to your local comic shop, pick up Exciting Comics number 29 featuring my amazing cover, Saw the Lightning Welder, drawn by myself, inked by Larry Haynes, colored by the late great Anthony D. Lee. Are you okay?
I'm texting my guy now. To make sure I have a copy.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
And comics, 29.
Number 29. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
We're good.
Listeners, please do that also. Go to your comic shop. Get Exciting Comics 27, 28, 29, and 30, actually, but definitely 29. All right. I'm done with my thing now. Do we want to bring on our guest?
No, that's your blood brother. That's you. Y'all are Sacramento. Y'all both live in Sacramentopolis, and you enjoy lighting the beam and the wonderful weather that you're having. So
it is still raining. It is still raining outside. Yes, like right now it's raining.
All right. I'm gonna do it. Y'all ready? Here's my intro for our guest. Sacramento-based creator Ben C. Schwartz opened his shop, Empire Comics Vault, in 2003 and has served the comic book community ever since. From food drives to collecting toys for kids, from free comic book day festivals to creative women Comic-Cons, and from brewery board game nights to sponsoring the Sacramento Roller Derby, Empire's Comics Vault is committed to building and supporting the comic book community and Sacramento. Please welcome to the show the one and only Ben C. Schwartz.
That was an amazing intro. Where did you get that from?
I got it. Was impressive. I wasn't gonna say anything. I was like, man, this sounds really, really great. Like it was well written and edited and everything. But he's coming off the cuff with this. That was amazing. Thank you, sir. That was the best intro I have had so far. And I wrote it.
You wrote it, yeah. I was like, I really like this. His about section in on his Facebook page is actually what it's supposed to be. It's about him. And I was like, oh, this is wonderful, because I never met Ben before. So
you should meet him.
Know a little about you.
Well, you're a little bit far away. You can't just come into the shop like Kyron.
That's true. That's true.
You know, like Danny is rich. He just doesn't like to show everybody how rich he is. So he can make a trip to Sacramento in like a day and then go back home. It's no problem for him.
All right, sweet. Well, I'm usually there Wednesday through Sunday. Come on through. Nice.
All right. So Ben, thank you for being on the show.
No,
for anybody,
appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. For anybody that isn't aware who you are, what you do, give us a brief description that isn't already pre-written out like Danny just did.
Well, of course, as we've said, my name is Ben C. Schwartz. I am a Sacramento native. I love this town. I own Empire's Comics Vault. I've got 2 pugs. I self-publish, which is what I'm very excited about, very passionate about, and I've been really heavily into over the last year. And I've got 4 trades out. I've got more coming. I've been building my Substack, and there's just so much to talk about. I don't even know where you guys want to start.
Well, I mean, I guess let's. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I know where I want to start.
Yeah.
As a comic book shop owner, I think a lot of the folks that we've had on this show have been mostly, new artists and creators. They don't have the insight that someone who owns a comic book store would have. And me as a new store owner, I don't do traditional retail, but we do have a space where we create our own comics and sell here as a brick and mortar. So I know for me, I'd like to know, like, what would be your I want to hear about your history of opening the Comics Vault and what that journey was like.
So when I opened Empire's Comics, I did it in a way I wouldn't recommend to anybody. I was young. We've been in business. Actually, February 14th will be our 20-year anniversary. February 1st will be our 20-year anniversary. And I was young. I was working a typical office job. I was just going through the motions. And I had a local shop. And I went in one day and the guy was like, "Hey, you want to buy all this inventory?" And I was like, and he threw some number out. And I was like, "No, why would I buy your inventory? I'm not doing anything with that." A couple weeks later, says the same thing. And I'm like, wait a minute, this guy's going out of business. And I don't want, and I didn't want his shop, but I was like, I could take that and do something myself. So I kind of sat on it. A couple weeks later, I go in and he says it again. The number keeps dropping. And so I was like, I don't think I have a choice but to take this. So I did. And I went all in. Like, we cashed out, my wife and I, because we were young. We didn't have a lot. We cashed out everything. We were like, this is either going to make it or we're young. We can start over and no big deal. And so we threw all in. We built it slowly. We started with a tiny little spot, worked our way up to something, expanded it a little bit. I did everything I needed at the time. I did games. I sold the comics, obviously. We rented DVDs. That was back in that kind of a day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And it was kind of the Wild West for comic shops back then because, we sold bootlegs of stuff you couldn't get because there was no internet like it is today. So you wanted the Star Wars special, we had it sitting right there. And nobody cared. You could sell that stuff at the cons back then.
I love it.
Yeah, because, and nobody was doing anything with it. So they didn't care either. They were just like, let fans have it. So I did everything we could to keep the shop running, to get it going, to build the base. And then as the years went by, I found what I wanted to do in my footing. And it wasn't your typical shop where you've got, you're loaded up on CGCs, you've got games over here, things happening there. What I finally came down to was I found what I wanted and what my audience wanted, which was a purely reading comic store. I have got 0 games in the shop. I don't carry expensive comics. I only focus on trade paperbacks, current books. And of course, one of the things that became my biggest passion, only because I was doing it, because I was able to see how many people in Sacramento was the local scene, which in Sacramento, and Kyron, you can attest to this, it's huge. Like, there are so many books, and we've got a wall just dedicated to books from Sacramento. So it's been
not just Sacramento. Sacramento. You have books from other parts. Like you have Isnana the Were Spider on there. You have Marvin Wynn's The Edge is on there. Yep.
No, you're right. Yeah. And I expanded out because what I started doing is I realized that it wasn't just Sacramento. There's an entire small press community across the nation that doesn't have it. They don't get distributed through Diamond. And they need to have a spot on the shelf because I appreciate exactly what they go through and I know what they go through. And I try to express to people the amount of time, money, and a lot. We're not recouping a lot of this. This is a passion project for most small press people, and so I like to give them a space to be able to put on the shelf. So that was kind of a long-winded answer to how I opened the shop. Sorry.
No, that's good.
That was perfect. No, that was perfect. And I need to get some of my comics out there too. I'm gonna send. I see Javon has got
Javon's already like, I'm gonna send a couple
I'm
comics
gonna
of
send
heat.
you
So.
some Ace Blade issues, and I'm gonna send them over to Kyron. Kyron actually has a variant cover for my Ace Blade comic book. So if you would have this, I would love to send you a few copies over there.
Yes, please. And the one thing I always try to do too is shoot me an email too, so we can communicate, because I don't like to just take in the indie stuff and sell them for their exposure. I want to make sure that they get paid for the books. So when I sell stuff, I want it to go, towards the product that's being put forward. So please, anybody who's interested, please reach out to me. Send me a link to your stuff and let me see what you got, because there's always room to put some stuff there.
As long as it doesn't bump out my books, I'm totally fine with it.
Well, there is a process on the local thing, and you are pretty safe, and I can tell you why. And it's not just because I like you. If there's books up there, and you bring me a book, and and I'm running out of space. If it's a book that you've got one copy and I haven't seen you in 2 years, that means you're not producing, which means unfortunately it's got to go, because I need room for new stuff. Kyron, however, always has a spot, because no matter how old that book Shaman's Destiny is, the new book always shows up. So he's like reserving his spot every year. So yeah, you're pretty safe, buddy.
Okay. All right. Well, we do want to talk about your books. We don't want to just talk about our books. So from our research, we found out you've been making books since 2005.
Yes, it's been a while. It's been a long time. It's been a fun hobby. It's been great working with a number of people from Sacramento, from beyond. But yeah, it's been something that I've really enjoyed doing, and the spark has really hit the last year or so, because life kind of took over. It's been a couple of years since I actually really did anything. Last year, I just really started doing production, marketing, and this year, since I did all my work last year, it's all about new creative.
Now, what was the book that you produced back in 2005?
2005 was the Continuum Universe. I wish I had a copy of the cover, because Ron Lim, one of, I think, all of Sacramento's favorites, was the one who actually did the cover. Don't, unfortunately.
Oh, that's okay. I got you. Hold on.
Oh, you do? Continuum Universe number 1 is what it was. And what we did is, I had started to meet people in the shop, and I started to see people who wanted to write like me, people who were artists, but they didn't really have anything other to do than, like sketches of Wolverine. So I kind of brought everybody together, talked to them. We had a barbecue together. Oh, there it is, by Ron Lim. Absolutely fantastic.
I should also mention inked by the legendary Michael Dorman.
Oh, Michael Dorman. My God, it's been since 2005. I'm sorry, Mike. I forgot you did that. God, it's been forever. And so we brought everybody together. We kind of talked. Everybody was excited. They were eager to get going on this. And we pretty much just randomly paired up writers and artists. And it was 4 writers. No, I'm sorry, 3 writers, because I wrote 2 of the stories, and then 4 artists. And it just went from there. And the idea was that this world was, or everything in this book was the same world, no matter how different it appeared. Because we have Relic and Ego, who are more of a mystical adventurers. We've got Unit TF, which is the hunters, and that's a science fiction. You've got Spades, which is the superhero aspect. So that was the beginning, and it just kind of grew from there. This book kept going, and it's an anthology, so you get multiple stories in each one as we expand the universe. And then many of these went off into their own books and just expanded the story there. So yeah, this was the beginning, and this was a hot mess when we put it out, because we just wanted to get it done and on the shelf.
And a fun fact on this, Danny, one of our previous guests was actually one of the writers in this book, Task, which Ben knows the story.
Yeah,
one of the stories of this book.
Yeah, his is the Surreal the Monkey King, who you see in the back here, being flown. And yeah, that's all Corey. That's all his property, and I hope that I see him do something with it again, because it was a really fun story.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, the Sacramento community, the comic community, it's crazy how, like, you think it's one of those things where you say, oh, do you know so-and-so? And you'd be like, I don't know everybody in the comic community. And then you're like, oh, yeah, I definitely know him.
Yeah. I love communities like that. The North Carolina is a little more rural and stretched out. So, I'm always meeting new artists and things like that, especially when we do comic book conventions and small press junkets and stuff like that.
You guys have some pretty good shows over there?
Yeah, we have some pretty good shows. Like, we have some staples, and then we have some smaller shows that you can meet, like the new indie folks in. But Heroes Con is here, and then we have Galaxy Con comes every year, and we have NC Comic Con, which is one of my favorites because it's right down the street, and it's always good to see people that you've seen for 10 years, and then also cool to see people that are just getting into the business. So how would you describe like the growth of the indie comics scene in your experience, in your 20 years that you've been doing comics? I know it's always been, some of the biggest properties in comics now started as indies, Spawn, and then you got The Walking Dead and all these Image books that started as like really niche indie things, and now they're these huge properties. How would you kind of describe the growth of indie comics in the last 20 years?
So the indie comics have come quite a long ways. When I took over the store, excuse me, in 2003, people were still recovering from the 90s. It wasn't quite the comic community is today. It was just a very core group of people. So, Batman, Spider-Man, all that stuff was still the main focus. But from what I watched as a store owner, it was quite literally Walking Dead that broke the barrier. Like, I remember when it came out the first year I opened. And, I was trying to stock some indie at the top because I absolutely loved it. Walking Dead hit, things just blew up. People were more willing to look at it, even though it was black and white. A lot of people won't read black and white. This book broke that barrier. So you watched as it expanded, because all of a sudden Image became what Vertigo used to be, and what Vertigo should have still been. Like, DC just lost that altogether. They've tried multiple times to bring Vertigo back, and it's too little, too late. Image is the absolute boss when it comes to independence and what fantasy, horror, it doesn't matter. They've got it all. So it was, Walking Dead, and then there was Saga and East of West. And it was just these little breakthroughs where all of a sudden it wasn't just, this is what indies did that is absolutely amazing. Marvel and DC, you've got your staple readers. You got your Spider-Man guys coming in every week. You got the guys who love Batman. Image Comics in particular expanded that outside of the world. All of a sudden, Saga comes out, and I'm getting, because we live close to a college, all of a sudden I'm getting college kids coming in. Where's Saga? I heard about this book. So now a whole group of people, because the trade market is so big, that don't read singles. They don't care about singles. I'm once every 3 months, and they'll load up on a pile of trades. So the trade market and the quality and just the sheer expanse of independence that's now available has helped, at least me, because I carry a lot of independence, really helped the industry as a whole. And I keep mentioning Image only because they put out the most, but you've got a lot of others making a huge splash. Boom is doing great. Vault Comics is coming up out of nowhere. I mean, they built enough, or I hate to say that because they've been around a while. They just, over the last few years, just notched it up. So there's a lot of great companies out there. Source Point, Dark Horse, of course, still puts out quality things. So it's not just Image, but they just happen to have the volume.
Yeah, and they got that 8 billion genies now. That's I still haven't been able to even find a copy of that at my local comic book store. So
the only thing we even have on the shelves for that thing is like 5th printings of each issue. It's crazy.
Wow, that's yeah. It's I've heard good things about it, but I want to sit down and read it for myself. Uh,
I love
um,
I love the concept.
yeah, absolutely. That's great, man. I just love that, the community of creators, because I really think that's the foundation of comics. Even the mainstream stuff now started as a passion project. The stuff
Yeah.
that has a 75-year legacy now, mostly started just as something that a creator had an idea for, and they had to push to get it, into the mainstream. They had to push to get it onto the shelves, and now you can't imagine, comic books without thinking about Batman or Spider-Man. So I think that's wonderful.
It is, and as hard as it is on the real small press, the indie guys, even some of these guys working for Vault and Image, it's not their day job. They've got a job. These are still passion projects for a lot of these people. So I think the comic industry is very lucky that whether you are doing small press in your hometown or whether you are writing for Image Comics, we all love this industry. We love these characters. We love writing. We love drawing. So I think we're very lucky in that regard, and we can really be seen when you go to the convention to meet these creators.
Now, I've been showing your books on the screen for people to look at. We have Trixie here that's on the screen right now. I showed an image of the Continuum universe and Ego and Relic. Describe what your books are about, so for anybody that might be listening and might want to check out maybe a series or two.
Yeah, so we'll start with Trixie Dynamite, obviously, because she's right here. In fact, I was just working on a couple new Trixie scripts last night. Trixie Dynamite is set 100 years in the future in Sacramentropolis, and she is an over-the-top, ridiculous, zany, Looney Tunes style character, and she runs around with her little companion Chip. It was a little robot based on I always get, is that Wall-E? But it's actually based on the old Nintendo robot. Remember the one that would hold the little thing from the very first one? He'd move and drop the tag.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Why am I not remembering that?
If you looked it up, you would definitely remember it. I didn't have it. I don't think anyone did, but it was on every commercial. None of my friends did.
Yeah, I remember it in commercials, but I can't remember the name. Rob, is it like Rob the robot? I
think it's Rob. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, it looks like a Johnny Number 5, but it's yeah. I never actually seen one in person. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, so they run around Sacramentropolis, have all kinds of ridiculous things. And great thing that I think about Trixie is not only is she amazingly, because she says the stupidest things, and so do I all day long. So it makes it easy. She gets to deal with Sacramento. In Sacramentropolis, I get to deal with local landmarks, people who are in the city. I get to deal with all topics because I can touch bases on things, make them a little more lighthearted, but I'll point with it without hitting anyone over the head. So it's really fun, and it appeals. It appeals to all ages. Like I've got kids who read it, I've got adults who read it. Because just like Looney Tunes, I try to include something for both sides. Because there's some things that the kids don't quite understand that's in there. So it's really fun. And like I said, I was working on a script for my Substack up and going. Tomorrow or today, Monday, we're seeing the first new Dynamite website, webcomic, and then I've got new stuff coming out there as well. It's really fun to write. And Kevin, you worked on it.
Okay,
Kyron, you worked.
Wait, what?
I think he was saying that you worked on some pages for something.
I did. Actually did 3 pages for an anthology he did. I'm sorry. I found. Okay, I got it. So I do not remember this. I found the image. It is Rob from Nintendo. ROB. I do not remember this robot. And I've been playing games since the 80s. I don't remember this.
Let's see if I.
Bro, you are bugging.
Let's see.
I'm sorry.
Is that, or is it?
Do
There we go.
This is
You
Rob.
can see him right there. So that is, it is not Wally. I have not stolen it from Wally. Genuinely stole.
Wow. Okay. All right. Yes. Going back to Trixie. Yeah,
No,
I did a couple pages for it.
In one out, it took place in a comic book. So you get sucked into a comic book, and I grabbed a bunch of local creators. And what she did is she, in a way to showcase in my own comic book other people around Sacramento, she jumped through all of these different comics. So you've got Melissa Paluca, who, if you all are not aware of, does Above the Clouds, and she is absolutely fantastic and one of the best people you'll meet. You got Mallow Man over here. Where's Kyron's? There we go. Shaman's Destiny, right there. So yeah. So this one was actually a lot of fun to do because I love sitting down and writing mine and producing it and doing everything myself. But it's not quite the same working with other people. So when I've got other people writing it, because I literally just said, Kyron, she falls off the page and onto your page. And then he did. Seeing it come to life was super fun. Who was about from say Image, sorry. And
Isn't it Dark Horse?
It was a Dark Horse. Thank you. I had got him coming to the shop on 28th. I don't even know this, right? But Dark Horse, sure. But he's done a ton of stuff. He worked with Rick Remender back in Strange Girl. There's just a lot of stuff that he's done. So but he hasn't done anything in a little while. So it's great to see him back. The great thing about that cover was he's come to a bunch of free comic book days with us. I didn't even ask for the cover. He just shot it to me one day and was like, here's the cover, use it if you want it. And I was like, of course I'm gonna put this thing up.
That's a great name for a comic and a great concept too. I'm definitely going to be reading that.
Midnight Comics says something keeps happening with the sound. I don't know. It looks like Ben has a little bit of a keeps
Choppy.
cutting in and out.
Sorry,
a little choppy.
just started coming down pretty hard here. So
Yeah,
where I'm at. So I don't know if that's affecting it. I apologize.
yeah. We're Midnight Comics. Ben and I are in Sacramento, where there is a giant tornado, tsunami coming through.
It's a hurricane.
Yeah, it really is. Honestly, we're not joking. It's been pounding us for the past. Well, that sounds bad. It's been raining for the past week or so.
Can't control when you get pounded. It's okay. There is. It's great to have.
Get a shirt.
It's great to have. It's great to be able to collaborate with locals. And I heard one of my Issa Rae said something in one of her interviews, and she said, a lot of people want to network with the people that are at the higher levels. You want to get a Jim Lee cover, or you want to get a Scotty Young cover for your comic book, maybe. But it's kind of best to network with the people who are to your left and to your right, people who are trying to do the same thing that you're doing. And I've lived the last couple of years by that mantra. Instead of I'm still gonna get me a Brian Stelfreeze cover if I can this year, but I'm also gonna get a Michael Watson cover for Ace Blade. I want to get a Kyron Silva cover for Ace Blade, because these guys are working in the same communities that I'm working in that, and it's easier to access them, honestly. So I love seeing part of your book being having the characters jumping into different people's comics. And Shaman's Destiny always seems to keep coming back up somehow. I should probably, it's kind of a running joke on this show now that I still haven't read Shaman's Destiny. I should probably, I'm going to make that one of my goals for this year.
For 2023.
Ben, right. Ben, you froze. Can you? I think I'm gonna have Ben go ahead and hop out of the stream and come back in, because you're frozen, and I don't know if that might help. At least Michael Watson says that might help if you hop out and hop back in real quick.
Let's give it a shot, and then we'll get back to the to the hard-hitting question.
So you still haven't read Shaman's Destiny, which is totally fine because not like I've read every issue of Ace Blade.
Do I even have Shaman's Destiny though? I think you, but at least you bought Ace Blade though. I don't know if I even bought. I have all the Saw books. I have all.
Everybody has all my Saw books. Everybody has Saw.
And I read Saw, and I have Starcore, and I'm going to read Starcore today.
All right.
I might even make a TikTok about Starcore because I just like it so much. But
all right, wait, Ben's back. He has a better signal.
Okay, good. That's good to know that I can do that because there's nothing worse than realizing that I'm frozen when you guys are still moving and I'm talking.
Brad says read Shaman's Destiny and then read Shaman's Destiny and then convince Kyron to continue the series. Okay. Everybody wants me to continue Shaman's Destiny and I don't know why.
Let's make that deal. Let's make that deal because one of the reasons that I haven't read it is because I know there's no more coming out. So if I read it, if I promise to read it, you got to promise to at least do another issue.
Now, in his defense, that actually is a valid argument because if I haven't watched like a television show and I hear it's canceled, I don't bother no matter how good it is.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I'm not making any promises on that. I'm sorry, I'm just not. I'm not.
What if I like it so much that I write something for it? What if I like it so much that I just go ahead and write?
Aren't you supposed to be writing like 2 other series for me already?
Let's make it 3. We can make it 3.
And you need more projects to play, don't you, Kyron?
Yeah.
No.
Way too much.
All right, let's get back. More projects. Let's get back to Ben and his project. So, as a writer, we only have a few more minutes here. As a writer, how hard is it for you to make any money back off of your projects?
I mean, it's near impossible because what people don't understand is even when
that's the show. It's new.
Yeah, even when you're distributing, like let's say you get picked up by a small press person, there's still so many things involved in before you even start to make your money. So, as somebody who does it myself, the writing is obviously not free itself because it takes time and it takes time away from things that I could be doing to actually make money. So I'm going to count that. So I'm already losing money off time. Then I have to find a penciler. I have to find an inker. I have to find a colorer, a letterist. I can do the design myself at this point because I have enough stuff, so we won't count that. But you've got to get a cover artist. It's got to get edited. It's got to get printed, and the printing is not cheap. So sometimes people wonder sometimes why the small press stuff is so expensive because I see some people these days charging up to $10 an issue. It's because all of those things I just mentioned are part of the price. So even if somebody's only paying maybe $4 a book, I haven't printed any singles in a while, but I'm guessing it's probably somewhere around $4 a book right now. $10 isn't unreasonable, and they're still probably not making money because they had to pay all these other people. So I want to say I've probably not broken even because then you got to take into account, conventions. You go to conventions, you've got travel, you've got food. So there's just a lot of things. And I'm not trying to put a story out here. I'm just letting people know that all of these small press people you see at the con, when you go by the table, and check out stuff, it's probably just because they have to try to recoup some of their costs. So don't make any money. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I missed that last sentence, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is a hustle, but it can be daunting to do all these things. And we recently, I tried to convince Hiram to put his prices up. We just recently increased our prices to $7.99 a book, because the prices for everything has gone up. Paper, cardboard, artists are more expensive, even in indie artists. It's everything.
I have not increased my prices at all, so don't blame me.
I keep trying to tell you to. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pay you more than you asked for from now on. Whatever you ask for, I'm paying you more because you deserve it. But yeah, well, I definitely understand that. Are you ready? You ready for my favorite segment of the show, Kyron?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so.
That was very unenthusiastic.
All right, so what we are getting at is this is now time for quick takes, Danny's quick takes. And if you've never seen the show before, Danny has a rapid fire situation segment where he asks you 5 different questions that he has created after scouring the internet and all your social media and basically.
Oh wow!
So let's go ahead and get to the show. But we do
All
want to actually talk about our sponsor of Danny's Quick Takes, which is Agents of Geekdom. Please go ahead and check out the platform and all their amazing shows that they have, like, I don't know, free 5-star Fridays.
5-star.
The new originals. Need a superhero. Here I am. There I go. When you need me, you know how to let me know. All you gotta do is holler. You need a superhero. 'Cause I'ma hear you when you holler. When you need that superhero. Yeah.
That was wrong, but okay.
No, it's wrong. Okay.
I love that last picture because Kyron's so serious, and you're just like, you have this giant smile on your face. You're like ready for whatever's gonna come.
That's how we keep the balance on the show. I'm always too high. Kyron is always somewhere between low and medium. So
low and extra low is me. And I'm not just talking about my height, okay? It's just
terrible. All right, Ben. So, like Kyron said, I've been scouring your social medias. I'm trying to find things about you that were interesting and that I would like to ask questions about. I got 5 questions for you. And you got 45 seconds to answer each of these questions off the top of your head. Most of these questions are going to be comparison questions, though. So I'm going to ask you to pick one of the other, and then our last question is going to be a top 5 questions. So question number one. Star Wars versus Star Trek. Which one would you keep forever? Which one would you delete forever, and why?
I mean, that's not fair. That is absolutely not fair. It's not even asking me to choose between like an older and younger child. It's asking me to choose between twins that came out at exactly the same moment. I love them both. I mean, and they're apples and oranges. Star Wars is action. It's fun. It's nonstop. Star Trek is, God, it's Star Trek. It's so, not including the new stuff. I don't like new Star Trek at all since we're talking about this. Except Picard. I like Picard. A Discovery would have been a great show if it hadn't been called Star Trek, because it's not Star Trek. And the Abrams movies, you can just leave them. So I'm going to say I would.
We just lost like all our Star Trek fans. All 2 of them.
Okay, I'm going to say I would keep Star Trek. And the only reason I say this, I'm sorry if I'm going over 45 minutes or 45 seconds, is Star Wars I love unconditionally. And I accept everything that they do. Star Trek, I can't. I'm like, that's not Star Trek. This is my Star Trek. So if I had to choose, I'm keeping Star Trek.
You feel the ownership with Star Trek, and for you, it seems like Star Wars is more just entertainment. Okay, I enjoy this, I enjoy that. I'll take all that, but you feel the ownership with Trek.
But I do, and the thing is with Star Trek is supposed to be something cerebral. It's not supposed to be all action and firing lightsabers. So you can watch episode after episode, and there's not a single lightsaber phaser fired. So I'm going to take Star Trek.
Okay, this is one.
That was my answer until you asked. This is like life-changing moment. Wow,
I love it. This isn't one of my questions, but what is your favorite Star Trek series?
Wait, what? It's only supposed to be 5 questions.
I know.
Deep Space Nine.
I love Deep Space Nine also. Deep Space Nine is wonderful. Voyager was my favorite for a long time, but
I like Voyager.
That Benjamin Sisko. And the new comics too. I got to catch up on the new comics because that first issue was really good. Okay. Question number 2.
Sidebar. Dan just texted me, and he says that your take on Picard and Discovery and all that's wrong. So,
all right, we'll have to talk about that later. That's the 8th question.
Yeah. All right. Question number 2. You can only continue one career path. Would you be a comic book creator for the rest of your life, or would you be a store owner for the rest of your life?
Unfortunately, this is an easy one. If I could choose just one and I could actually make money at it, it would be the creator. And it wouldn't be because I don't enjoy doing empires. I absolutely love doing empires, but the sheer love I have when I sit down to write, it's not the same. I don't have the love when I sit down to order every day. And the great thing is, I get to see a lot of great people at Empires, and I have a really good time because it's such a fun environment. But I wouldn't make it. I mean, I would still see those people. I would be able to do conventions. I would be at the local shop. So I would still get, as a writer, I think, the best of both worlds.
So if you want, Danny could buy your shop and just pay you out so you can, create for the rest of your life if you want.
That sounds great. We'll talk right after this.
Okay, cool. That's
Dan,
only one of
the
his
Goku
piggy banks. He has multiple piggy banks over there.
That is the
Bring out the Goku. Got to bring out the big bucks. Okay. Question number 3. Which is more important for the future of comic books? Is it the art or the story?
So you obviously can't have one without the other. They're both inherently part of the medium. So you have to have both. What's more important to me? Well, there has not been a book that is so badly drawn that I won't read it if it's well written. I will not necessarily read a book that's wonderfully drawn but has a horrible story. So I'm going to go with writing. But you need them both.
I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree with you, Ben. And we'll just leave it at that. Okay.
Both of y'all are wrong.
Oh, but you got your hat in both the courts.
Especially growing up in the 90s, there were so many horrible written books that looked fabulous. So we've all done it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but not anymore. There's not enough time in the day.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Number 4. Question number 4. Tell us why pugs are better than all other dogs.
Well, pugs are better than all other dogs for a number of reasons. Now, I grew up with large dogs. I never had a small dog. We were in an apartment. My wife wanted something, so we went and looked at things. We stupidly went and looked at potbelly pigs, and they have the most ridiculous scream you've ever heard.
Oh wow!
Don't look at me like that, Kyron. It was a possibility.
I'm just trying to think, where are you gonna put a potbelly pig?
Well, we didn't know. We were looking at possibilities. So the next thing we do is she's like, "What about a pug?" And I looked and I was like, "Oh yeah, fine. We can try it." So we went and we picked one out. We looked and we ended up coming home with one, and that was our first pug, Emperor Nero. And a month later, I went and got the next one in Nara. I was absolutely in love. They have the most personality that I have seen in a dog. And like I said, I've had dogs my entire life. They're just so unique. They're little lap warmers. So you've got them, on your lap. You don't even need like a blanket during the winter. They're absolutely perfect. They're very intelligent. They're cute. They're people dogs because I take them to the store all the time, and they're just absolutely amazing with people. So my wife says I'm obsessed. I say it's a passion.
I agree with your wife.
You sold me. You sold me with you don't need a blanket during the winter. You sold me. I'm gonna get a pug.
Yeah. I can only have anymore.
I love it. Okay, number 5. All right, so if you don't know, we also have another show called Top 5 Live where we do top 5 lists for every week. Kyron has been on the show plenty of times. It's Javon Stokes, myself, and Morgan Iverson. So I always try to get our guests to do a top 5 list off the top of their head for the question number 5. In your top 5, I want to know your top 5 comics of 2023. What is your prediction of the top 5 comics of 2023? What will be the top 5 best comics of this year?
Oh my God, that's so rough. let's just start with this. I'm going to just throw 5 out that I think are top. This is in no particular order. Tom Taylor's Nightwing is one of the best things on the shelf. The man just brings absolute passion to that book. And I'm not going to do all these, but Penny in His Nice House on the Lake is just incredible. And that is like, that should have been an Image book. Step by Bloody Step is probably one of them. It is a silent comic book, which makes it extremely hard to tell a really great story that way, because you have to convey everything with the art, and they did just a wonderful job. Let me scour the shelf here for a second while I'm thinking, God, these stuff on the spot is killing me. Let's see.
Star Trek.
Let's see. You think this would come? I stare at that wall every day. God. Once Upon a Time at the End of the World by Jason Aaron. Very unique book. Great art, like really great art. Just a story of this young girl who is traveling the wasteland, meets a young boy who's been secluded from the apocalypse, and he tags along with her. So it's dark, but it's also really light. At the same time, really fun. Was that 3?
That's 4.
That's 4.
4.
That's 4.
Okay, 4. Let's see what. And another indie that I really enjoyed, and I believe this was actually a Substack first, was Night of the Ghoul by Snyder. It was only a 3-issue miniseries with Frank Avila doing the art. And what I like about it is I like horror. I'm not a huge horror guy, but I like horror when it's suspenseful horror. And it's the story of a father and son tracking down an old film connected with insanity and all kinds of mysteries and rumors. And they discover the creator, and things go downhill from there. But it's very suspenseful, really keeps you on your toes. Frank Avila's art just nails it, because his colors are very muted in a lot of ways. So he has flashback stuff, he has current stuff, he has things that keeps it really dark. So yeah, I think those would be 5 that first come to mind.
Now I do want to point out that out of the 5 books he mentioned,
I didn't mention Starcore.
No. But I knew that was number 6 if you had done 6. But
yeah, obviously.
I do want to mention that number 3 was a story that was just art, and then I think it was number 4 that you said had the art was the best thing about the book. So I just want to preface this off of the answer you gave on question 3, which was story over art. So I just want to point that out.
Illustration is art through story, though. So the art in the comic should tell the story. So you can't have that art without the. We're not going to have this discussion this early in 2023, Kyron. But what I found fascinating about that list was that I think only one of your choices was a superhero comic, right? Nightwing is the only one that is a superhero comic book that you predicted for 2023.
Yeah, and there's been there's been great superhero comics out there, don't get me wrong. And I love my tights. I love my Spider-Man. I love reading my X-Men. But sometimes it becomes just a little stale. I've been reading these things for 40 years. So, Pete losing his job and being on hard times again, I've seen it. How many times have I seen it? But Nightwing, Tom Taylor, he brings heart to that book like you would not imagine. It is literally a book where I will turn the page and a tear will roll down my cheek because it's so heartwarming. Or he will have me laughing out loud as I'm reading it. So, yeah, that's why it made it when none of the others did.
I love it. I love it. I love the diversity that's coming in comics, and that that more types of people, like you said earlier, you got teenagers and college students who are getting into comics, and I love it. Absolutely.
And you know what? Before we go, but you know what? The interesting thing about that is you talked about people. We lost a generation of kids that didn't read comics, especially boys. Like video games and the internet, it took it over. I'm seeing over the last 5 or 6 years, I'm seeing a ton of kids come back into comics. It's great. Like them, they want to read it. Their parents want to read it. And what the interesting thing about it is, I would say about 75% of them are little girls, which means in 20 years, the industry could be completely flipped.
I love it. I love it. It's always growing and changing, and that's what's wonderful about comic books.
right. So do want to? I realize I need to bring back the clock. I haven't
He's
done
like,
a clock.
that went on way too long.
Well, we had a clock originally with this for the first year and a half, but then with Restream, it didn't work properly. So I need to figure out another way to bring back the clock.
I mean, cancel.
We couldn't afford the clock anymore. We got.
All right, let's get to the comments before because we only have a couple minutes left. Fish said there's a lot of great books. You could switch out the artist and it'd be just as good, but couldn't switch out the right as easily. I still finish whatever. Brad said your first 2 picks, I'm assuming your top 5 pick, are spot on in his opinion. So great.
Perfect. The other, not so much.
Yeah. Javon is out there just talking about himself, so we're not even actually going to talk about that. Wait, here's a comment. Javon says comics are marketing and viewed through the visuals. They will always be more important. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
We love
All
artists.
right, Ben.
We love artists.
We do love artists. You better say that. Otherwise, I'm going to tear up these cover I just started for Battle of the Black Rose.
I can't wait to see it.
All right, Ben. We only have a couple minutes left. Where can people find your works, your books? Maybe check out I guess, like social media, things like that.
Comics.com or for the shop. But pretty much everything is Ben C. Schwartz, SCHWARTZ. Oh, right there, you're on it. Schwartz.com, tool deal. And of course, focusing on Substack. So please check out Ben C. Schwartz at Substack.com. I just started, so there's some posts and it's up. But starting Monday, we're getting the Dynamite webcomics. We're going to have new stories from her. And then, of course, the Continuum universe is finally continuing after the 2 trades I put together. And it's only on Substack.
Okay. All right. I will. Okay. So what about continuumpress.com? Do we need to go there anymore? Or
everything. If you go to bendyschwartz.com, it's basically the hub that sends you everything. So any of them works, and they all, if you want to contact me, and if you want to get a hold of me about putting your books on the shelf, we talked about any of the email addresses you can find. So, we can get some new fresh stuff this year.
All right. Danny, where can we find all your work and you, I guess?
If you're looking for me, the best place to find me is on our website, www.fourthwallpros.com. If you want to get with me on social media, it's at the Ace Blade on all social media, except for YouTube. YouTube is Fourth Wall Comics. But that's where you can find me. Kyron, where can people find you?
You can find all my
need to promote before we leave.
I am ready. Okay. Don't try to. Anyways, you can find me at tauruscomics.com. You can find me on social media at Taurus Comics, at Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You can want to get a shirt like this, tauruscomics.com. If this is your first time checking out our podcast, you can go back to our website, which is fourtailspodcast.com. Find all our previous episodes there. Make sure though that you like, subscribe, do whatever you need to do so we can get a bigger audience, all that good stuff. But do not leave the Agents of Geekdom channel, because right after us, what is it called? The FSK garage sale? Is that my understanding? The FSK garage sale.
They're going to be offering some good stuff, from what I hear. And
okay,
I'm gonna have to jump on and see if I can't get me some physical art. Y'all know I love physical art, so I have to jump on and see if I can get.
So check out the Agents of Geekdom platform. You can go to Twitch, Agents of Geekdom. Looks like they're gonna be selling art, character sheets, original art, comic pages. Only this weekend, starting right after our show. So please check it out. But don't forget to join us next week, where we're going to have. Who are we going to have? Oh, that's right. We're going to. I read what we're going to have here, and I cannot find my note anymore. Do you know who
we're going to have? Someone
next week? Lloyd Jones. We're going to have next week from Midnight Comics. I feel bad because he was just in the chat.
Oh.
This is why you should schedule the show so you remember who's coming.
No,
No,
okay.
I'm not going to.
But I had it in my show notes. Like I was looking for it, but my show notes got messed up because I had to share other stuff. But Lloyd Jones will be on. We're going to talk about.
Just do the show every week so we don't fall off. All right, we're good.
All right, you know what? That's it. The show is done for today. Please take care of yourselves. Until next time, sayonara, goodbye. We are out.
I want to know what it is Quick is trying to say.